Okay, Apple has just announced iPhone 15, 15 Pro, watches, things like that, right? But what I want to concentrate in this quick video is calling out the fucking hypocritical bullshit of Apple, who are once again just doing their BS and trying to spin it as if they are fucking saviors of humanity. What I'm talking, of course, is the fact that new iPhones have switched to USB-C, something that has been rumored for months and months right now. However, quite unfortunately, one rumor that I thought will be absolutely just cringe on such level that it would not fly with people, and yet it is still true. So iPhone 15 and 15 Plus come with goddamn fucking USB-C that is limited to USB 2 speeds. This is just insulting to any human intellect. To do this, any person who really wanted USB-C wanted it for two reasons. Obviously, to charge all of your devices with one cable, but also to be able to finally get quick transfer speed on iPhones, because iPhones can shoot ProRes videos, things like that, and even if not 4K 60, things of that nature. It produces giant files, let's be clear about that. And so Apple, in their absolutely brain-dead fashion, just created USB-C with literally speed from 2000. The year 2000 is where we've got our USB 2.0, 2001, but the specification was announced slightly earlier, still limited to 480 megabits per second. Meanwhile, we now have 40 gigabits per second in MacBooks, USB-C type of connectors, and also in iPads. And even if not 40, we definitely have for already 6 years 20 gigabits per second, 10 gigabits per second for 10 years already. And yet Apple has done this. I literally didn't think that Apple will be able to spit in the face of people in such manner and call themselves that they're pushing to environmental goals and shit like that, while you're literally right. Okay, with Lightning, you fucked up royally when you designed your stupid fucking connector and didn't implement USB 3 standard, even though you needed literally 1 or 2 extra pins. Okay, alright, you fucked up. Your engineers are fucking morons. Alright, you've had years and years to improve this situation. USB-C was introduced long time ago. The specifications publicly available. You are fucking in a consortium. What in the fuck are you doing? And what in the fuck are you doing? Right now you're boasting that for iPhone 15 Pro, you've created a new chip, A17 Pro, and that you've included USB 3 controller with up to 10 gigabits per second. So you've designed this chip, even though USB 4 right now is on the market with 40 gigabits per second speeds. You have MacBooks and iPads that can transfer speeds at 40 gigabits per second. Yet you're designing your new chip on 3 nanometers, presumably you have more space, and yet you are creating built-in controller with 10 gigabits per second max speed. This is just spitting in the face of people. Even though these people are boasting that as if this is something remarkable, that now they have 20 times faster transfer speeds. It could have been 80 times faster, because the technology exists already in the market and Apple is using them. Second thing, and this is why I didn't think Apple could spit in the face of people like that, and yet they've done, and I am somehow surprised given the fucking history of this company. So let's actually quickly examine a few devices from Apple that do use some kind of a USB-C, and they are limited based on artificial shit, based on marketing separation that Apple is doing. Okay, so if we're talking about Mac models, okay, they are using M series chips. The chip maybe has more sort of room to put a bigger controller that can handle sort of up to 40 gigabits per second. All right, okay, we'll give you that, Apple. Then if we take a look at the iPad Pro model 2021, 2022, same Thunderbolt or USB 4 up to 40 gigabits per second. Okay, we kind of see that 2021 model uses also Apple M1 chip. We get it, right? Then we take a look at iPad Air from 2022. And if we take a look at Air from 2022, it uses also Apple M1 chip. However, it is limited to 10 gigabits per second. So Apple is using the same chip, M1 chip, in 2022 iPad Air and in 2021 iPad Pro, for example, but they are artificially limiting it to slower speeds. Why? Apple claims so much that they care about the environment and whatnot, right? Maybe I don't want to spend so much money on iPad Pro. Maybe I don't need it. Maybe I don't need all of this, like feature camera sliders and whatnot, right? But I want to quickly transfer files. Why cannot I use iPad Air with the same M1 processor, so with the same built-in USB-C controller, presumably, that can handle Thunderbolt, no problems in Macs and in iPad Pros, but what, it suddenly cannot handle it in iPad Air? How come? Then, let's take a look at iPad Pro from 2018. From 2018, it uses Apple A12X chip, yet it supports USB-C on up to 10 gigabits per second. So, why not new iPhone? Okay, maybe you say it's 12X chip, so it's like specific chip for iPads. Okay, well, let's take a look at iPad Air that does support USB-C up to 5 gigabits per second. Slower, but it does support it. Okay, what kind of a processor it uses? Oh, it uses Apple A14 Bionic. So somehow Apple have been able to find a way how to add a USB-C support at 5 gigabits per second transfer speeds to A14 Bionic, but they weren't able to do it for A16. Color me fucking crazy, but I think this is market separation and bullshit in the fucking absolutely the most Apple shitty fucking way. Spitting in the face of people who want to have features, who want to have access to full fucking features of their devices. And instead they're creating market separation for zero reason, besides upselling you on the fucking highest model possible. Because Apple is greedy to such extent that charging you $800 and $900 is not enough anymore. Now you need to pay, if you want like the highest specs, now you need to pay what, like, I'm assuming like 12. Yeah. Now you need to pay $1,200 or $1,000. And you're not even getting the full potential. You're not getting USB 4 with 40 gigabits per second. You're still getting a limited fucking version that has been in iPads since 2018. What in the fuck is this shit? What in the fuck is this shit, and why all of these fucking reviewers are not like literally being absolutely totally pissed at Apple? Instead they're saying, oh, I don't know, like when was the last time you take your cable and actually use something to trust? Well, we don't fucking do it because it is absolutely fucking god-awfully slow. God-awfully slow. And literally transferring via AirDrop was faster than fucking USB 2 lightning speed, because lightning was limited to USB 2. And now it continues. Now we still get the same garbage USB 2 on the fucking iPhone 15. We don't use it because the feature is not available. Give me the feature that I can transfer via cable up to 40 gigabits per second. If I can transfer like large files, movies, whatever, from or to an iPhone in a split second, 40 gigabits per second. I'm gonna fucking do it every day of the week because AirDrop is not reliable at all, and also it's not fast at all. It's not, AirDrop is not even fast as 5 gigabits per second. It's like literally barely like 1 gigabit per second. So we can do transfer files right now 40 times faster than the fucking AirDrop, and some reviewers like MKBHD and whoever the fuck else saying that, oh, like when was the last time you used? Well, we don't use it because it's garbage, limited to fucking literally speeds of the year 2000. And it's so incredible that people are still shilling for Apple. Apple is literally doing the biggest sort of switch, and they're still doing it in a half-assed fucking manner. And you know what's even more impressive is that if you go and take a look at iPad teardowns, the ones that did not use M1 chip, they do use chips from like On Semiconductor or Texas Instrument that add basically support for USB Type-C, and these chips literally cost like $1 when you are factoring that you are buying like 1,000 of them. They're like $1, $1.50. Some of them are literally like 20 fucking cents. Some of them. So Apple is like, Apple is not adding onto like new iPhones a chip that is literally like $1 because it can upsell you at least like $200 to $300. Because if you want fast transfer speeds, you now have to pay, instead of $800, you now have to pay at least $1,000. So by not implementing a chip that's cost $1, they can upsell you $200, and people don't fucking say anything about it. Like, what in the fuck? Plus the fucking phones still look the same. Like, what is this? This is a joke. And I feel kind of so pissed about this because I've been waiting for the new iPhones so I can finally update from my older shit fucking iPhone 6s Plus, because I wanted a better fucking phone with USB-C, full speed, 40 gigabits per second, all that fucking amazing shit. And instead we're getting literally USB fucking 2, unless you pay more than for a goddamn Mac computer. This is incredible. This is insane. And I'm pissed that people, these big reviewers, don't do fucking shit to point that out. They're quickly skimming like this little, whatever, little inconvenience. And this person, Tim fucking Cook, has the audacity to say that at Apple we believe that climate change is one of the world's most urgent priorities and we're deeply committed to doing our part. Yeah. By limiting fucking speeds of USB-C and upselling on a fucking much more expensive phone, or by fighting against right to repair, not providing parts and schematics, literally serializing lead sensor on Macbook so it cannot be swapped again unless you're contacting Apple like services and shit like that. The hypocrisy and the audacity of these people to go out of their way to not add features that cost like $1, and then trying to tell you how fucking amazing they are, how much they care about environment and all that shit, when you are ditching leather, which is biodegradable obviously, and replacing it with some synthetic materials for your new freaking watch bands and Apple cases. Like, okay. So yeah, I just wanted to put this out because, every time I'm expecting something from Apple, something really good, and they do everything in their fucking power to disappoint me. What do you think about that? Am I like completely out of touch with reality? Do you actually use, or would you want to have your iPhone to literally have all the capabilities that is possible right now, if we're switching to USB-C? Like, do you like these artificial limits that Apple places for absolutely no reason, rather than upsell you on a fucking higher end model that costs anywhere from $200 to like $400 more dollars? I remember times when the iPhones were starting at like $450 or $500 new. And now it's like $1,000 and you're not even getting all of your features. Do you enjoy this world that we're living in? If you're like Apple fanboy, do you enjoy shilling for it? Like when Apple is literally spitting in your face by switching to USB-C and limiting it to the speeds of the year 2000. 2000. It's 2023 right now. There are people who finished university already, and yet we are still at the same transfer speed for the newest iPhone, because they cannot put $1 chip inside of this phone. And they're boasting that now they've included into the processor something that isn't even the highest speed possible right now. I mean, do you like this? Please tell me in the comment section. I would really want to know, like, the processing of people who actually think that this is alright. I would really want to know. Why wouldn't you want, when you're spending $1,000 or $1,200 or even more dollars on a phone, of all things, on just a phone with glass front and glass back, by the way? Why don't you want all your features? Why don't you want to get as much for your money as possible? Why wouldn't you demand it from Apple? Please tell me about this, because I would really want to try to understand people like that. All right.